My meeting ended early, so I went home without telling my wife. The house was unlocked, the bedroom light was on, and someone else was trying very hard not to make a sound. But before I begin, please like and subscribe to the channel. And we'd love to hear which part of the world are you joining us from. Let us know. Now, let's dive into today's story. The factory clock showed 2:47 in the afternoon. Aaron Cole's supervisor walked over with news. The production line was shutting down early. Equipment malfunction. Nothing serious, but they needed time to fix the hydraulics. Aaron didn't complain. He grabbed his lunchbox and clocked out. Then he headed to the parking lot. The September heat was brutal. His work boots crunched across the gravel as he climbed into his truck. The vinyl seat burned through his jeans. He started the engine and let the air conditioning run for a minute. Aaron stared out at the industrial park. Warehouses and chain-link fences stretched in every direction. This was Redwood Bluff, Arkansas. Population 8,200. The kind of town where everyone knew your business before you did. Aaron had lived here his whole life. He graduated from Redwood High School. He'd worked at the same factory for 11 years. 3 years ago, he married Ruby Hastings in a small ceremony at the Baptist Church on Elm Street. It was a quiet life. Predictable. Safe. Aaron pulled out of the parking lot and headed east on Route 9. He drove past the Dollar General, past the old Dairy Queen that had been closed for years, past the elementary school with its faded playground equipment. The road cut through farmland, mostly soybeans, a few fields of cotton. Then it curved into the residential streets on the north side of town. Aaron thought about calling Ruby to tell her he was coming home early. His finger hovered over her contact, but he decided against it. No reason to bother her. She was probably watching TV or doing laundry. He'd be home in 10 minutes anyway. The house sat at the end of Maple Court. It was a modest 2-bedroom ranch with white siding and a detached garage. Aaron had bought it 4 years before the wedding. He'd saved for years to afford the down payment. It wasn't much, but it was his. The mortgage was in his name. The deed too. He pulled into the driveway and cut the engine. The neighborhood was quiet. Mrs. Patterson across the street was watering her roses. A dog barked somewhere down the block. Normal. Ordinary. Aaron grabbed his lunchbox and walked up the front steps. The door was unlocked. That wasn't unusual. Ruby often left it open during the day. He stepped inside. The living room was empty. The TV was off. A basket of unfolded laundry sat on the couch. Aaron set his lunchbox on the kitchen counter. Everything seemed normal. Quiet. Then he noticed the light. The bedroom door at the end of the hall was closed, but a faint glow came from underneath. The lamp was on. Aaron walked down the hallway. His work boots were soft on the carpet. He could hear something now. Movement. The creak of bed springs. A muffled voice. His hand touched the doorknob. It turned easily. He pushed the door open. Time stopped. Ruby was on the bed. Her blouse was half unbuttoned. Her skirt was bunched around her hips. A man Aaron had never seen before stood beside the bed. He was frantically pulling on his jeans. His shirt was on the floor. His face was red. His eyes were wide with panic. Aaron's brain tried to process it. He tried to find some explanation, some innocent reason, but there wasn't one. The scene was too clear, too obvious. Ruby's eyes met his. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. The man fumbled with his belt. His hands were shaking. He looked young, maybe 30, lean build, dark hair, a stranger, not someone Aaron knew from town. Aaron felt something cold settle in his chest. Not rage, not yet, just a kind of numb clarity. He looked at Ruby, then at the man, then back at Ruby. When he spoke, his voice was flat, calm, almost distant. Get out, now. The man didn't need to be told twice. He grabbed his shirt. He shoved his feet into his shoes without tying them. Then he bolted past Aaron without making eye contact. His footsteps pounded down the hallway. The front door slammed. Ruby stayed on the bed. She was frozen for a moment. Then her face crumpled. She started crying. Loud, gasping sobs that filled the room. Aaron didn't move. He stood in the doorway, looking at her, observing, taking in every detail. The way her hands covered her face, the way her shoulders shook, the way she glanced up at him through her fingers, checking his reaction. She was already performing, already shaping the narrative. He turned and walked back to the living room. He heard her follow a moment later, still crying, her voice breaking. "Aaron, please." He didn't respond. He went to the kitchen. He pulled a glass from the cabinet and filled it with water. He drank it slowly, methodically. Ruby stood in the doorway. Tears streamed down her face. "Aaron, please, just listen to me." "I'm listening," he said. His voice was still calm, still flat. Ruby took a shaky breath. She wiped her eyes. When she spoke, the words came fast. Too fast. "It was a mistake. I'm so sorry. I don't even know why. He's just someone I met at the grocery store. We started talking, and I was lonely. Aaron, you're always at work, and I'm here alone. And it didn't mean anything. It was stupid. It was just once, maybe twice. But it's over now. It's over. I'll never see him again. I promise." Aaron took another sip of water. He watched her over the rim of the glass. Her makeup was smeared. Her hair was a mess. But it was the words that caught his attention. Just once. Maybe twice. She couldn't even keep her story straight. "I'm so sorry," she said again, her voice rising. "Please, Aaron. I love you. I made a terrible mistake. But it doesn't have to end like this. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can." "Where are you going to stay tonight?" he asked. Ruby blinked. "What? You're not staying here." Her expression shifted. Confusion gave way to disbelief, then to anger. "You can't kick me out of my own house." "It's not your house," Aaron said quietly. "It's mine. I bought it before we got married. The deed is in my name. We're married. It's community property." Arkansas isn't a community property state. Ruby's mouth opened, then closed. She hadn't expected that. "You're really going to do this? Over one mistake?" Aaron set the glass down. He looked at her, really looked at her, and he saw someone he didn't recognize. Or maybe someone he'd never truly known. "You haven't apologized," he said. "I just did." "No. You explained. You blamed me. You told me you were lonely. Like that makes it okay. But you didn't apologize. Not really." Ruby's face hardened. "You're being ridiculous. Get your things. Aaron, now." The crying started again. But this time it was different. Sharper. Angrier. Ruby stormed past him into the bedroom. She slammed the door behind her. Aaron stayed in the kitchen. He could hear her moving around, yanking open drawers, throwing things into bags. The walls were thin. Every sound carried. He pulled out his phone and made a call. "Hey, Rick. It's Aaron. Yeah, I need a favor. Can I get the locks changed tonight? I know it's short notice. I'll pay extra." Ruby emerged from the bedroom 20 minutes later. She had 2 suitcases and a duffel bag. Her face was red, streaked with tears, but her eyes burned with fury. "You're going to regret this," she said. Aaron didn't respond. She dragged her bags to the front door. She struggled with the weight. Aaron didn't offer to help. He stood in the kitchen, arms crossed, watching her leave. At the door, she turned back. "This isn't over." Then she was gone. Aaron locked the door behind her. He stood in the sudden silence of the house. The air felt different, lighter, emptier. He went to the bedroom and stripped the sheets off the bed. He carried them to the washing machine. He started a load, added detergent, set the timer. Then he sat down on the couch and stared at the blank TV screen. The shock hadn't hit him yet. The anger, the grief, those would come later. Right now, he just felt tired. His phone buzzed. A text from Ruby. "You can't do this to me." He deleted it. Another text came through. "I have nowhere to go." He blocked her number. Rick arrived at 7:30 with new locks and a toolkit. He was a broad-shouldered guy with a gray beard and kind eyes. He didn't ask questions. He just got to work. He replaced the deadbolt on the front door, then the lock on the back. "You want me to do the garage too?" Rick asked. "Yeah, thanks." When Rick finished, he packed up his tools. He clapped Aaron on the shoulder. "You need anything, you call me." "All right." Aaron nodded. "Appreciate it." After Rick left, Aaron walked through the house. He checked the windows, made sure everything was secure. He felt like he was fortifying a position, preparing for a siege. Outside, he could hear Ruby's voice, shrill and loud, shouting at someone. He glanced out the window and saw her standing on Mrs. Patterson's lawn. She was gesturing wildly, crying. Mrs. Patterson stood on her porch, arms crossed, listening but not engaging. Aaron closed the blinds. He went to bed early, but sleep didn't come. He lay on the couch, He couldn't bring himself to sleep in the bed, even with fresh sheets. He stared at the ceiling. He replayed the scene over and over. The look on Ruby's face when the door opened. The panic in the stranger's eyes. The way she tried to twist the narrative. To make herself the victim before he'd even said a word. How long had it been going on? Weeks? Months? Had there been signs? Had he missed them? Or had he simply chosen not to see? Aaron didn't know. And lying there in the dark, he realized he didn't care. The trust was gone. Whatever they'd had, whatever he thought they had, it was over. There was no coming back from this. The next morning, Aaron called a lawyer. David Brennan's office was on Main Street, above the hardware store. It was a small practice, just David and a paralegal. But David had a reputation for being thorough and fair. Aaron explained the situation in simple terms. He caught his wife cheating. He kicked her out. He wanted a divorce. David took notes. He asked a few questions. Then he nodded. You own the house outright. Mortgage is in my name. So is the deed. Any joint accounts? A checking account. Maybe $4,000 in it. She can have half. Alimony. She works part-time at the beauty salon. 30 hours a week. I'm not paying her a dime. David looked up. Arkansas law doesn't mandate alimony, but a judge might award it depending on the circumstances. How long were you married? 3 years. You should be fine. Anything else? Kids? Pets? No kids. We had a dog, but he died last year. David leaned back in his chair. This should be straightforward. I'll draft the papers and file them this week. You'll be served. She'll be served. And we'll move forward. If she doesn't contest it, you could be done in 60 days. She'll contest it, Aaron said. Most people do. We'll handle it. Aaron left the office feeling a strange sense of calm. The decision was made. The wheels were in motion. There was no going back now. He went to work. He kept his head down. He focused on the job. Nobody asked him about Ruby. Nobody mentioned anything. But he could feel the stares. The whispers. Redwood Bluff was too small to keep secrets. By the end of the day, the whole town knew. Ruby's campaign began almost immediately. She started with mutual friends. People they knew from church, from high school, from around town. She painted herself as the abandoned wife, thrown out of her home with nowhere to go. She told them Aaron was controlling, that he'd isolated her, that he'd been verbally abusive for months. None of it was true, but Ruby was convincing. She cried at the right moments. She spoke with just enough hesitation to seem vulnerable. Some people believed her. Others didn't. Most stayed silent, unwilling to get involved. Aaron didn't defend himself. He didn't chase the rumors. He didn't try to set the record straight. He simply went about his life, quietly documenting everything. He saved every text message Ruby sent him, every voicemail, every email, and there were a lot of them. You destroyed my life. Everyone thinks you're a monster. You'll pay for what you did. I hope you're happy. You humiliated me. If I lose everything, it's on you. The messages came at all hours. Early morning, late night, random afternoons. They swung wildly between rage and pleading, threats and apologies. Aaron didn't respond to any of them. He just saved them, filed them, kept a record. David advised him to get a restraining order. But Aaron refused. Let her keep talking, he said. Every message is evidence. The divorce papers were served 2 weeks after Aaron filed. Ruby showed up at the factory during his lunch break. She was shouting at him in the parking lot while his coworkers watched. You're really doing this? She screamed. You're really going to throw away our marriage? Aaron didn't engage. He walked past her. He got in his truck. He drove to the Sonic on the edge of town to eat his lunch in peace. Ruby followed him. She parked beside him. She got out. She banged on his window. Talk to me, she yelled. You owe me that much. Aaron kept eating. He didn't look at her, didn't acknowledge her. After 10 minutes, she gave up and left. He finished his burger. He threw the trash away. Then he went back to work. Ruby's support system began to crumble. Her friends grew tired of the drama. Her family stopped sending money. The salon where she worked cut her hours. She'd shown up late 3 times in 1 week, still crying about the divorce. She moved in with a friend, then got kicked out after 2 weeks. She moved in with another friend. Same result. Desperation set in. Aaron could see it in the messages. The tone shifted. The threats became more specific, more dangerous. You think you're safe. You're not. I know where you live. I know your schedule. You'll regret what you did to me. David filed a motion to expedite the divorce. He cited harassment and threats. The judge agreed. A court date was set for 6 weeks out. Ruby hired a lawyer, a slick guy from Little Rock with a reputation for ugly divorces. He sent Aaron a letter. It demanded the house, the truck, and half of Aaron's retirement account. David laughed when he read it. She's not getting any of that. Good, Aaron said. The court date approached. Ruby's lawyer tried to negotiate, but Aaron refused every offer. He wasn't interested in compromise. He wanted a clean break. Final. Permanent. Ruby sensed she was losing. She made one last attempt. She sent Aaron a text late one night. I found some of my things at the house. Can you bring them to me? I don't want to cause trouble. I just want my stuff. Aaron stared at the message. He knew it was a trap. He could feel it. But he also knew Ruby had left a few items behind. A jewelry box, some photos, a box of old letters, things she might actually want. He thought about it for a long time. Then he replied, "Where?" She gave him an address. A rental house on the south side of town. Aaron didn't recognize the street. When? He typed, "Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Aaron sat on the couch, phone in hand, weighing his options. Every instinct told him not to go. But if he didn't, she'd accuse him of withholding her property. She'd make him the villain again. He made a decision. He texted his friend Rick. He told him where he was going and when. He told him to call the police if he didn't hear back by 9. Then he prepared. He charged his phone. He set it to record audio. He slipped it into his shirt pocket with a microphone facing out. If Ruby wanted trouble, he'd be ready. The house was a small rental on Oakwood Drive, a street Aaron had driven past 100 times but never paid attention to. The neighborhood was older. The houses were modest and well-worn. Chain-link fences, gravel driveways, a few dogs barking behind gates. Aaron pulled up to the curb at 7:58. The sun was setting. Orange and purple colored the sky. He sat in his truck for a moment, engine idling, watching the house. The lights were on inside. A single car sat in the driveway. Ruby's old Honda. Aaron reached into his pocket. He pressed the record button on his phone. The screen showed a timer starting to count. He stepped out of the truck. The air was cooler now. A September breeze cut through the heat. Crickets chirped in the grass. Somewhere down the street, a TV blared through an open window. Aaron walked up the cracked concrete path to the front door. He knocked. Ruby answered almost immediately, as if she'd been waiting by the door. She looked different, thinner, tired. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. She wasn't wearing makeup. Her eyes were red-rimmed, but dry. "Hey," she said softly. "Thanks for coming." Aaron didn't respond. He stayed on the porch, hands in his pockets. Ruby stepped aside. "Come in. I have everything in the back room. I'll wait here." "Aaron, please. I'm not going to bite." She forced a smile. "I just want to talk. 5 minutes. That's all." He hesitated. Every nerve in his body screamed at him to turn around. Get back in the truck. Leave. But he also knew that if he did, she'd twist it. She'd say he refused to cooperate, that he was unreasonable. He stepped inside. The rental was small and cluttered. Boxes lined the walls. Furniture that didn't match. The air smelled faintly of cigarette smoke and cheap air freshener. Ruby closed the door behind him. "Do you want some water?" "I just made tea." "No." She walked to the kitchen. She poured herself a glass of water from a pitcher on the counter. Then she took a sip. The glass had already been sitting there, Aaron noticed. "Waiting." "I appreciate you doing this," Ruby said. Her voice was calm. Too calm. "I know things have been difficult, but I don't want us to be enemies." "Where's the stuff?" Aaron asked. Ruby's smile faltered. "In the bedroom. I'll get it in a minute. I just wanted to say something first." "Say it." She set the glass down. She looked at him. Her expression was unreadable. "I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But what you're doing to me, kicking me out, taking everything, turning people against me, that's worse than what I did." Aaron didn't react. "You're destroying me, Aaron. Do you understand that? I have nothing. No house. No money. People won't even look at me because of the lies you've been spreading. I haven't said a word about you to anyone. You didn't have to. Just the fact that you kicked me out, that you filed for divorce. It made me look guilty, like I'm a bad guy. You are." Ruby's face hardened. "You think you're so perfect, don't you? You think you're better than me. I never cheated on you." "Maybe you should have," she snapped. Maybe if you'd paid more attention to me. If you cared about me instead of that stupid factory job, I wouldn't have been so lonely. Aaron took a step back toward the door. I'm leaving. No. Ruby moved quickly. She positioned herself between him and the exit. You're not walking away from me again. Get out of my way. Or what? You'll throw me out again? You'll humiliate me again. Aaron's hand moved to his pocket. He felt the phone. The recording was still running. Ruby, move. You think you're smarter than me, she said. Her voice was low and venomous. You think you can ruin me and just walk away. But you can't. I won't let you. She turned and walked toward the kitchen. Aaron watched her, every muscle tense. She opened a drawer. Aaron's heart kicked into a higher gear. Ruby, stop. She didn't. Her hand went into the drawer. When it came out, it was holding a knife. A kitchen knife. 8-inch blade. Serrated edge. Ruby, you made me do this, she said. Her voice was shaking. You pushed me to this. All I wanted was for us to be happy. And you destroyed everything. Aaron stepped back. His hands went up. Put the knife down. No. You're going to listen to me. You're going to understand what you did. She moved toward him. The knife gripped tightly in her hand. Aaron's mind raced. The front door was behind him. But Ruby was between him and the exit. The kitchen was to his left. The hallway to the bedrooms on his right. Ruby, don't do this. You don't got to tell me what to do anymore, she screamed. Then she lunged. Aaron reacted on instinct. He sidestepped. He grabbed her wrist as she swung the blade. She was smaller than him, lighter, but desperation gave her strength. They struggled. They crashed into the wall. Let go, she shrieked. Aaron twisted her arm. He forced her hand open. The knife clattered to the floor. He shoved her away. Not hard, just enough to create distance. Then he ran for the door. He yanked it open. Help, he shouted. Somebody help. He stumbled onto the porch. He fumbled for his phone. He dialed 911. Behind him, Ruby emerged from the house. But she wasn't chasing him anymore. She was crying. She dropped to her knees on the front lawn. She was sobbing loudly. Her hands covered her face. The knife was still on the floor inside. Aaron stood on the sidewalk, phone to his ear, watching her. She was performing again. 911, what's your emergency? My ex-wife just attacked me with a knife, Aaron said. His voice was steady. I need police at 437 Oakwood Drive. Are you injured? No, but she's still here. Stay on the line. Officers are on the way. Aaron stayed where he was, phone in hand, watching Ruby cry on the lawn. Neighbors were starting to come out now, drawn by the noise. A man from the house next door stood on his porch, arms crossed, watching. 2 minutes later, red and blue lights flashed down the street. A patrol car pulled up. 2 officers stepped out. Ruby saw them. She immediately started talking. Her voice was high and frantic. He broke in, she cried. She pointed at Aaron. He threatened me. I grabbed the knife because I was scared. The officers looked at Aaron, then at Ruby, then back at Aaron. Sir, can you step over here? One of them said. Aaron walked to the patrol car, calm and cooperative. Officer, I have a recording of everything that just happened. Do you want to hear it? The officer's eyebrows went up. You recorded this? Yes, sir. Audio. From the moment I walked in. The second officer went to talk to Ruby. She was still crying, still insisting that Aaron had attacked her. Aaron pulled out his phone. He stopped the recording. He handed it to the first officer. Start from the beginning. It's all there. The officer listened. His expression shifted as the recording played. Ruby's voice, her accusations, the sound of the drawer opening, Aaron's warnings, the struggle. When it finished, the officer looked at Aaron. Wait here. He walked over to his partner, the one who was still talking to Ruby. They conferred quietly. Then both officers went into the house. A minute later, they came out with the knife in an evidence bag. Ruby's story was falling apart. Ma'am, you're under arrest, the first officer said. Ruby's face went pale. What? No. He's lying. Ma'am, we have a recording. We have the weapon. You need to come with us. Ruby looked at Aaron. For a moment, her mask slipped. The crying stopped. The fear vanished. What replaced it was pure, cold hatred. You bastard, she hissed. The officers cuffed her. They led her to the patrol car. She didn't fight, didn't cry anymore. She just stared at Aaron the whole time, her eyes burning. The second officer came over to Aaron. We're going to need you to come down to the station and give a statement. Of course. You did the right thing recording that. Most people don't think to do it. I had a feeling she was going to try something. The officer nodded. You want to press charges? Yes. All right. Follow us to the station. Aaron got in his truck. He followed the patrol car back through town. The whole drive, he kept replaying the scene in his head. The look on Ruby's face when she pulled the knife. The way she'd shifted so seamlessly from rage to victimhood the moment the police arrived. If he hadn't recorded it, it would have been his word against hers. And in a town like Redwood Bluff, people believed the story they wanted to believe. The charges came fast. Assault with a deadly weapon, making false statements to law enforcement, domestic harassment. Ruby was held overnight, then released on bail the next morning. Her lawyer from Little Rock posted bond. He immediately started damage control, but the damage was already done. The recording spread through Redwood Bluff like wildfire. Someone at the police station leaked it. Whether intentionally or not, Aaron didn't know. But within 2 days, everyone in town had heard it. The sympathy Ruby had cultivated vanished overnight. People who had defended her, who had believed her story. Now, they turned away. The salon fired her. Her friends stopped calling. Even her family, her mother, her sister, they kept their distance. Ruby tried to fight back. She posted on social media. She claimed the recording was edited, that Aaron had manipulated the situation. But nobody believed her. The evidence was too clear. The court date for the divorce was moved up. Ruby's lawyer tried to negotiate one last time. He offered to drop the property claims if Aaron agreed to drop the assault charges. Aaron refused. She made her choices, he told David. Now she lives with them. The divorce hearing lasted less than an hour. Ruby didn't contest anything. She sat in the back of the courtroom, her lawyer beside her. She stared at the floor. The judge granted the divorce. Aaron kept the house, the truck, his retirement account. Ruby got half of the checking account, $2,000, and nothing else. No alimony, no property, no second chances. When the judge's gavel came down, Aaron felt nothing. No relief, no satisfaction, just a quiet, distant sense of closure. Ruby didn't look at him as she left the courtroom. The assault trial was set for 3 months later. Ruby's lawyer tried every tactic he could think of to get the charges dropped. He argued self-defense. He claimed emotional distress. He questioned the legality of the recording. None of it worked. Arkansas was a one-party consent state. Aaron had every right to record the conversation, and the evidence was irrefutable. Ruby took the stand. She tried one last time to sell her story. She cried. She trembled. She said she'd been terrified, that she'd only grabbed the knife because she thought Aaron was going to hurt her. The prosecutor played the recording. The jury deliberated for 40 minutes. Guilty on all charges. The judge sentenced her to 18 months in prison, with the possibility of parole after 12. Ruby's face went white when she heard the sentence. She looked at Aaron. He was sitting in the gallery, and for the first time, he saw something other than anger in her eyes. He saw fear. The bailiff led her away. Aaron stood and walked out of the courtroom without looking back. The months after the trial were quiet. Aaron went back to work. He kept to himself. He avoided the gossip. He focused on rebuilding the life Ruby had tried to tear apart. He repainted the house. He replaced the furniture in the bedroom. He got rid of anything that reminded him of her. Friends checked in on him occasionally. Rick invited him to barbecues. Mrs. Patterson from across the street brought him casserole. "You doing okay, honey?" she asked one afternoon. She stood on his porch with a Tupperware container in her hands. "I'm fine," Aaron said. "You let me know if you need anything." "All right, I will. Thank you." He didn't talk about Ruby, didn't think about her. As far as Aaron was concerned, that chapter of his life was over. She served her time. He moved on. 18 months later, Ruby was released on parole. Aaron heard about it through the grapevine. Someone at the factory knew someone who worked at the county jail. The news traveled fast, the way it always did in Redwood Bluff. Aaron didn't react. He didn't change his routine. He didn't check over his shoulder. He didn't worry about her showing up. Ruby was someone else's problem now. But 2 weeks after her release, he got a letter. It was handwritten, postmarked from a town 30 miles south. No return address, just his name and the address of the house on Maple Court. Aaron opened it. The letter was short, 3 paragraphs. Ruby's handwriting was small and cramped. Aaron, I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect anything from you. But I wanted you to know that I'm sorry. Not for what I said in court or to the lawyers, but for what I did. For cheating. For lying. For trying to hurt you. I lost everything because I couldn't accept that I was wrong. I thought I could make you the villain, and it would somehow fix what I broke. But it didn't. It just made everything worse. I don't know if you'll ever read this, or if you'll just throw it away, but I needed to say it. You deserve better than what I gave you. I hope you're happy. I mean that. Ruby. Aaron read the letter twice. Then he set it on the kitchen counter. He stared at it for a long time, trying to decide how he felt. There was no anger, no satisfaction, no sense of vindication, just nothing. He folded the letter. He put it back in the envelope. Then he threw it in the trash. Then he grabbed his keys and went to work. 6 months later, Aaron met someone. Her name was Claire. She worked at the library on Main Street. She was quiet, smart. She didn't ask too many questions about his past. They went on a few dates. Coffee at the diner. A movie at the old theater. A walk around the park. It was easy, comfortable, no drama. One evening, Aaron sat on his porch with a beer in his hand. Rick was there too. You happy? Rick asked. Aaron thought about it. Yeah, he said. I think I am. Good. You deserve it, man. Aaron nodded. He looked out at the street, at the quiet neighborhood, at the life he'd rebuilt from the wreckage. He thought about Ruby sometimes. He wondered where she was, what she was doing, but it was a distant thought, like remembering a bad dream. She'd made her choices. She'd faced the consequences, and Aaron had moved on. Years passed. Aaron and Claire got married. They bought a bigger house on the other side of town, closer to the lake. They adopted a dog, a golden retriever named Buck, and they settled into a quiet, happy routine. Aaron rarely thought about Ruby anymore. The whole ordeal felt like something that had happened to someone else, in another lifetime. But every now and then, someone in town would bring it up, usually in passing, a cautionary tale about bad decisions and worse outcomes. Aaron never added to the story. He just listened, nodded, and changed the subject. He learned a long time ago that some people made their own disasters. They created chaos. They blamed everyone else, and they refused to take responsibility. Ruby had been one of those people, and Aaron had been smart enough to see it, document it, and walk away before she dragged him down with her. He didn't hate her. He didn't think about her enough to hate her. He'd simply moved on, and that, in the end, was the best revenge of all. One afternoon, almost 10 years after the divorce, Aaron was at the hardware store. He was picking up supplies for a deck he was building in the backyard. He stood in the lumber aisle, comparing prices on 2x4s. Then he heard a familiar voice behind him. Aaron! He turned. Ruby stood a few feet away, a shopping basket in her hand. She looked older, thinner. Her hair was shorter, streaked with gray. She wore jeans and a faded jacket. Her face was lined in ways it hadn't been before. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Ruby gave a small, hesitant smile. It's been a long time. It has, Aaron said. How have you been? Good. You? I'm getting by. She glanced down at her basket, then back at him. I heard you got remarried. Congratulations. Thanks. Another pause. Awkward. Heavy. Look, Ruby said. Her voice was quiet. I know I don't have the right to say this, but I'm glad you're happy. You deserved better than what I put you through. Aaron nodded. I appreciate that. I'm sorry. For all of it. I know. Ruby looked like she wanted to say more, but she didn't. She just nodded. She gave him a sad smile. Then she walked away. Aaron watched her go. Then he turned back to the lumber. He picked out the boards he needed. He loaded them onto a cart. Then he headed to the checkout. By the time he got to his truck, he'd already forgotten the conversation, because it didn't matter anymore. Ruby was the past, and Aaron had a future to build.